So another thing I think might be causing this boost cut issue is the volts that's getting to the trunk. Even though the fuel pressure, actually when it cuts out, the fuel pressure does drop some, but I mean that's expected because when it's cutting out, it's losing boost, and it's going to drop fuel pressure because it's not seeing the max boost pressure. But look here, this is the battery. I'm just going to go up here because it's easier. Huh? 12.1. Alright, so we come in the trunk. That's 10 gauge wire. I don't know, it's about maybe 20 feet, 15 feet long. 12.3, all good there. Now on these relays, let me turn the light on. The middle part is 40 amp, the top amp part's 30 amp. I'm told these pumps don't go over 25 amp, but let's see if I can do this. Wedge that one up in there. Go down here. Yep, 12.2 amps on that one. Just kind of wedge that in there. 12.1, about right. Now watch what happens when I turn the pumps on. Alright, both pumps are running. We go here. Look at that. It drops over 2 amp or 2 volts. Straight to the connection here. And obviously here, same thing. Top of the relay where the electric's coming through. Over 2 volts. And then we'll come over to the pump itself. I can do this. Yep, right at the pump, 8.6. When you start the car, it does get a little better, but not much. Car running, 13.3. Both pumps running. It loses about 3 volts. We'll test right at the pump. Or do this one-handed. Yeah. What if we shut one pump off? Could help any. Yeah, see? Helped a little, not much. Still losing about, I don't know, 1.5 volts. Yeah, 1.5 volts. So every pump I turn on in here, I lose about 1.5 volts. I wonder if that's what's causing it. So what I did this time is I ran another wire, another 10 gauge wire. So there's 2 positive 10 gauge wires and 2 negative 10 gauge wires, which I believe the calculator online said 2 10 gauge wires stacked. Start to do this one in 12.2 is 7 gauge wires. So this is just simulating 2 10 gauge wires together is simulating 7 gauge wire. And this is just to simulate if we need thicker wire. See if this helps. So I just hooked them right there. 12.2, like I said. Now let's kick the pumps on with an extra 10 gauge wire run, simulating just a 7 gauge wire. What it dropped to before, 8.8. See, now it's only dropping to 9.910. So we got a whole volt out of that. Now let's unhook one pump. Now we're getting closer to 10.7, 10.8. So yeah, thickness of the wire, that 10 gauge wire isn't good that long. So whoops. Now will that fix it or not? I don't know. But it definitely needs fixed. So I'm gonna get some 4 gauge, 2 gauge, or 0 gauge wire. I might just get 0 gauge because I'm gonna put the battery in the trunk later anyway. I'm gonna need 0 gauge, so I'm just gonna get some 0 gauge wire and run it straight from the battery back to that power block and see what that does. So yeah, that's the game plan. Try a bigger wire, see if that fixes it. If it don't fix it, then we'll have the injectors cleaned. But that needs to be addressed because that's dropping way too many volts, especially with just the 10 gauge wire. It's losing 3 volts back there. A little over 3 volts, like 3.5. Yeah, that's terrible. Now I took all the wires out. Going to measure those up and see what lengths we need. And I'll order them on eBay or Amazon. And once I get them in, we'll make another video and see if it fixes it. If that don't fix it, we'll get the injectors cleaned. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. But I think it has something to do with the volts to that surge tank, or it getting dirt in my injectors or something, because it never did this until I put that surge tank on there. And it losing 3 volts back there, that's a big deal. We'll see. So I found this little handy dandy wire chart here. Wirebarn.com/wire calculator. Y'all can here. I'll put that in the link there, or on the screen there. But so these pumps are not supposed to go over 25 amps each. I'm gonna put 60 in there. The wire was actually 18 feet. I thought it was closer to 15, but I'm gonna put 20 in here. I'm gonna put 2% drop. That's the max we want. Hit the calculate button and it'll tell you which wire to use. 2 gauge, 1 gauge, 0 gauge, 1020. That's what it says to use. So we're going to get 20 feet of this right here. So you can, if it's okay to have a 5% drop, it'll tell you what gauges you can use. And we were at 10 gauge. 10% drop at 18 feet. And even 15 amps, I don't think would have got us there. Oh, it did get us there. But that's a 10% drop. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to go a little higher, 60 and 20 foot and 1% drop. Yeah, right there. That's what we're going to get. I'm going to get 20 feet of that with some 3/8 eyelets on each side. And we'll run that and see what it does. I really think this will fix it, honestly. If it don't, I'll get the injectors clean. If I don't fix it, I don't know what to do.